Hey everybody, welcome back to Everyday Journey. Today we're going to go over real quick what it's costing me to raise my chickens and go over some of the costs involved with it real quick and see if whether or not it's actually going to be profitable for me to actually sell eggs. And we'll go over some of the things that'll help out with that. But to begin with, let's go ahead and jump into what I'm actually feeding them. So right now, or at least I was feeding them Nutrina Nature-Wise layer feed. And then before that, whenever I was starting them off in the beginning, that was the chick starter, but the same stuff. And that stuff is, when it comes to chicken feed, that stuff is a little bit expensive, but it's supposed to have a lot better ingredients to it so that hopefully the chickens will be a lot better health, and hopefully they'll just be, in general, just be better altogether because they're not entirely grain fed. But here lately, I've actually been cutting it with a little bit of the feed that I give my pigs. And I get that from a local feed mill. And it's actually fairly cheap stuff, but they love it. The pigs love it. The chickens love it. And I just cut it with it a little bit. It's probably about I would say about a 1-to-4, maybe 1-to-5 ratio. And it's just because they like it and they keep going after it in the pig pen, which is right next to my chicken pen anyway. And so I might as well go ahead and feed them some of it. So it does help out a little bit. But anyway, let's get into what my chickens are actually eating. All right, so to begin with, here's how much I weigh. Of course, this is with shoes. So you see right here, I got 213.6. Go down here and I'm going to get some pig feed, and this is how much feed I'm actually feeding my pigs. And this is where I keep it downstairs. I used to keep it outside. You see in these metal bins that I've got, I used to keep it out there, but I got a lot of it went bad. I think I had like 12 bags out go bad, and it just wasn't a good environment. Metal containers, of course it was sealed, but not sealed well enough. In the sun, so it got, everything. It just didn't do well. So I keep it in plastic containers downstairs in my house. It's somewhat climate controlled. And but anyway, this is what I'm feeding them. So 218.2 pounds is how much I weigh with the pig feed. So we do the math, we get 4.6 pounds of pig feed. This is exactly the same amount that I add with my chicken feed every day. So like I said, it's about a 1-to-4, 1-to-5 ratio. And yeah. This is me going up to feed the pigs, but I have to get the chicken feed, bring it down, fill it up, and then weigh it all so that I know for sure how much I'm giving them. But you can see here, this is one of the chickens, I guess, got left out somehow. And luckily he's a rooster, so not much is going to mess with him. But I don't know how in the world he got left out because I look around every single day. And he must have been off in the weeds or something, who knows. Well, here's the metal barrels that I feed them, or used to have the feed in. So now I have to find something to do with these things because I think I paid about $27 or something like that a piece for them, and they're food grade. But I don't really have a big use for them now, so I'll be thinking of something here in the near future. Here's you see me throwing a piece of pumpkin out here. That is the last of the pumpkins. Just throwing it out there because the chickens have pecked that piece to death, and the pigs love it. I haven't got them all together yet because I was afraid that the small ones are too small to be able to put with the other ones, that they just get hurt. So as soon as I get the pig pen, the big pig pen that I'm fencing in, as soon as I get it all together, then I'm going to slowly introduce them together and let them go ahead and duke it out if they're going to, because they're pretty close to the same size now. I think they'll be all right, but I'm going to try it one-on-one with plenty of space for them to get away if they need to. And hopefully it'll be all right, because I really do need to mix these up, because right now I've got the 3 on the one side that are actually related, and then the 2 on the other side are related, and I don't need them to reproduce that way. Once I feed them, they're nice and quiet. They don't really they're not really that bad after that, but man, they go crazy, especially those bigger ones. They go crazy whenever they want some food. So anyway, go ahead and feed these other ones real quick. I just split up that exact amount. That's 4.6 pounds split up between them all. And I do supplement them, as you can see, with some hay. This right here was fresh cut hay. Well, it's fresh cut from winter hay. So there is some green in there, but mostly there's just fiber material and stuff. But these pigs have been bred to be able to actually eat that stuff. They can't eat a lot of it, but it does help out a little. And I do put it in there probably 2 times a week, I would think, so that they can just pick through it whenever they want to and get what they want out of it. But mostly it's just so they can bed in it. Finally got the chicken back in, or the rooster back in. And now that he's in, I can go ahead and let the other ones out. And I normally let the pigs go ahead and eat for a little bit before letting the chickens out, at least when they can get in there with them. And right now they can, because the fence goes around it all now. Normally I switch it up and have it to where the pigs, where everything, the pigs and the chickens are all included in the fence. And then every now and then I switch it back the other way, which includes that big pile of manure, compost material that's over on the side, and then the chickens can sit there and scratch through that. Normally don't do it unless I'm actually gonna move the compost though, because the compost is I need to get the tractor in there, and so I don't want to be running over my fence. So I'll just move it to where the chickens can't really get in there very well, go ahead and do what I need to with the tractor, and then later on go ahead and enclose it again so the chickens can pick through it. This is me just going through, getting these feeders, and then I go ahead and fill these feeders and then weigh myself again. And here I'm wearing the boots, so it's a little different weight, 218.2 pounds. And then I go ahead and weigh myself with the feed. Oh, there we go. So we end up with 15.4 pounds of feed. And so that's what I start with. Go ahead and put this back out there for the chickens. And then later on, here, the evening feeding, I get 4.4 pounds. So roughly 4.5 pounds of feed twice a day. So it averages out to being about 9 pounds a day. Here I'm going ahead and adding a little bit more feed with the chickens in the evening. You see 7 pounds, just so that I make sure that they're not going to run out, because they will run out if I don't put some more in there. That way the next morning I can check it and I can do the true math. 11 pounds of leftover feed. So when you do the math, you got 15.4 pounds, then you add the 7 pounds in the evening, and then you minus the 11 pounds that was left over, and we end up with a daily amount of 11.4 pounds. This is pretty accurate, because I did this again a day or two later, and sure enough, that ended up being pretty close. I mean, it was a little off, of course, but so basically it gets me to $4.20 per day. That's with the pig feed included with it. If it was just the Neutrino feed, it'd be $4.95 per day. So I would have to sell these roughly for $5 a dozen just to be able to break even right now. Right now my eggs, my chickens are producing, looks like about 10 or 12 eggs a day. Well, it is the middle of winter right now, and they're only producing about a dozen eggs. I got 38, let's see. Well, actually, no, I've got 41 chickens currently, and then 1 turkey. So the turkey's eating a lot. Out of those 41 chickens, I've got 5 of them that are roosters. 5, maybe 6 that are roosters. So I still have a couple of those that I need to get rid of, so that I'm down to my 3 that I wanted to keep. But there's nothing I can do about the turkey. So the turkey is just going to be here. My wife has already decided that it is not going anywhere. So that's just something we're going to have to deal with. But we should hopefully get more eggs in the future coming, once it starts warming up and once the daylight is actually changing and all that stuff. So hopefully, I'm figuring if all the ones I'm keeping, which will be 38 roosters or 38 chickens total, I'm hoping that I get about, I figure that they should be able to lay about 1 every other day. So if I did that right, that should be about 19 eggs per day. And so in the end, that'll be about 133 a week, which is about I think 11 dozen. So 11 dozen eggs. If they can actually produce that, that'll bring my cost down a bit. But right now, with just 1 dozen a day, my costs are roughly $5 a dozen is what I got to sell them for. I could use the cheaper food, and I think I can get it for about $12, $12.95, something like that, which is about half price. But I don't really want to go that route unless I have to. So what I'm going to try to do first is I'm going to get with the people in the community and see if I can't sell these for the $5 a dozen. And if I do better as far as getting more eggs, then I can sell them, and make a little bit more money. Then I'll try that. If I can't do that, then I'll try to find another place to sell them so I can make that $5 a dozen. And then if that doesn't work, then I'm going to go and look about lowering my feed costs. And I can do that in several different ways. I can go with the cheap food for one. I can stretch it a little bit further using the pig feed for two. I could supplement them with other things, like fermenting their food, which I'm going to try maybe. I probably will try that, see if that does help any. And then see about maybe getting like soldier fly larvae or earthworms or crickets or anything like that I can actually raise on my own and hopefully help with and maybe even mealworms. I mean, I don't know what's going to work. I just have to try it. But to break down and get the math so that we know exactly what we're looking at, I mean, that's the starting point. I talk about these feed costs and everything else as being the number one thing. Other issues that we've got is the fact that we're just talking about right now, right this very moment. When you talk about chickens, I mean, I've had them for almost a year now. So they've been eating this entire time and, had to buy things and everything to actually take care of them. But the biggest thing was the feed cost all along the way to get up to a point to where I can finally sell them. And so we weren't making anything that entire time. And if I'm still using the same amount of feed, then I'm going way in the hole. So, and then you figure in the cost for the actual chickens. These I had to buy. I think they averaged out to be $3.99 a piece. So go ahead and factor that in too. That's taken away from our overall profits. And then when you figure the only thing that's going to help with any of this is later on that one, if I could sell them as stew hens, that would be great, but I can't because I'm not allowed to process them myself until I actually get licensed and certified so that I can do that. Then the only thing I could do is recoup some of my losses by butchering them and then feeding my family. So if you figure, roughly $8, we'll just say $8, and it probably could be less, could be more, but $8 for a whole fryer, then we're getting about $8 back. So we might be able to save some money there. But for the most part, it looks like I'm not going to break even anytime soon. I did buy some incubators though, so that hopefully I can get some more chickens here soon. Once the spring comes around, it warms up a little bit. And then we can take those chickens and start the process off and save the $4 or so right from the get-go. And that'll help a little bit. So we'll do that and then we'll start raising. Maybe I can sell some of them as well. And if I can, then good. We'll actually make a little bit of money back that way too. I think for the most part, what really is going to be helping me is the savings to where I don't have to buy any eggs and stuff myself, and the savings where we don't have to go buy chicken anymore unless we want to get something to fry specifically, because these are kind of tough. But I don't know. We'll see. I will try in the future. I'm going to try to actually figure out the cost from the get-go. It would be nice to finally actually make a profit. I can understand why farmers are going broke all the time, having to sell their farms and everything else, because if you go to the store and you're paying $1.99 for a dozen eggs, I can't meet those prices. And then if you're selling the chickens themselves for, and this is completely different type of chickens, but I can't meet those prices either. That's really cheap. So that's the reason why they got houses with thousands and thousands of chickens in them, because that's the only way they can make any money. If you got any questions, definitely put it in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. Here at the very end, look at my pictures that I've been taking. Let me know if you like any of them. I'm going to have them numbered, so just let me know which one is your favorite. And look at the previous video too, because nobody has responded yet with what they thought was the best picture in that. Because at the end of the year, I'd like to pick the very best picture that you guys have decided. So that's all I got. So until next time, y'all take care.